Hey everybody, welcome back to This Life Fits. We just got done spending a lot of time today getting a lot of things in order. It has been chaos. To kind of give you an overview of the story a little bit, we started the engine when we first got it running back in May when we first purchased the boat, or back April and May when we first purchased the boat. And everything was running well for the most part, but it didn't immediately start off, which was a concern. Like, it didn't fire off well. It took a little bit of coaxing, but it started. We came back to the boat a couple of weeks ago, last week, and tried to start the motor again, and had a lot of issues. And it wouldn't really. It'd run for a minute and then cut off by itself. So this is obviously my first foray into diesel motors and how they behave and how they act, and Ainsley's down here disassembling pretty much everything for us too. That led me down a trail of trying to figure out what was going on with the fuel filters. We have a reliable motor. I felt that, like I could tell it for the most part had been taken care of. There was a small oil leak. I addressed that. Outside of that, it looked fairly decent. But last week really shook my confidence, and we're at a time crunch to get the boat out of Staten Island and honestly over to Northeast Maryland. So anyway, came back today with a refreshed mind and started pulling apart the fuel system. We went and bought a new Raycor filter, and I also cleaned out the fuel pump filter, which I don't know if it's ever been touched in the 35 years of the boat's life. That fuel pump filter, or the fuel pump itself, was so calcified over. It is covered that I had to take a wrench to the end of it to crack up in the bottom of it where to pull the filter housing out and clean that out. And that worked. We replaced the Raycor filter, but one thing that I have seen posted in a lot of places, I've seen Sailboat Story do a video on it, I've seen it put at a couple different places, is the check ball valve in Raycor filters. On the, I think it's the 200 series housing we have for the Universal M25XP, there is a ball filter, or there's a ball at the input side of the filter housing that prevents the water, or prevents fuel from running back out of the filter if your filter's below, if your tank is below your filter. When I opened that area, of course it was very dirty in there, it didn't look like it had been cleaned out, but as soon as I moved that ball, it released a really strong vacuum. So it makes me believe that at some point we probably were fighting ourselves from a fuel system standpoint. As soon as we fixed that, we had a little bit of calamity of errors. We had the hose on here at the marina and flooded the boat a little bit, but obviously nothing bad happened. But anyway, glow plugs, 45 seconds, and she fired right up. I ran her hard for probably about 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so. She chugged right along and performed well. So I think we're really good there. I have confidence now that, again, we're back in where we need to be. And the oil leak that I fixed, which was just below the raw water pump, is fixed as well. So with that being said, we do have a couple more things we need to accomplish. Solar's obviously hooked up. It is not finished plumbed yet. In other words, there's some cables running around. I'm not going to show you the companionway. There is a disaster in here right now. But we need to finish plumbing the solar panels, and we just ordered a brand new freshwater system pump. We finally found where it went on this boat. The previous owner must have moved it at some point. It was back near the water heater. We found the wiring for that and confirmed that's all hooked up to the correct switch. So we're all good to go there. So we got a new water pump on the way. We're going to try to replace it here in the next day or so. And then we also got to get a new valve for the V-berth tank. And then we should have running water and everything should be good to go. We are, like I said, up against a timeline a little bit that we need to try to solve for. We need to get the boat moved to Northeast. It's costing us a pretty hefty penny here in summer storage in Staten Island. So when we leave here, it's pretty much a no turn back. So I really want things to be as tip top as possible, as much as possible. So in this video as well, you're gonna see Lisa. She's kind of doing some of the helping do some of the finish work. She put together. I put the zinc on the prop shaft, and obviously prepping the back of the boat for our name change as well. So a lot of cool stuff coming. We've not been able to film a lot of this, and there's a really big story why, and just how stressful this has been. So this is the reality of it, though. This is not glammed up. We're not bikini models, and we are not, you know, huge savings accounts people. We are a small family at, I would call, right in the middle class, right in the middle of middle class in this horrible time of inflation, whatever else, just trying to figure out, trying to go on an adventure. So if you're into that, make sure you stay tuned, and I'll catch you real soon. Bye-bye now. So as part of our getting the boat ready to leave here next week, we have to pretty much recommission our water system. This valve assembly was half-ass put together by somebody, and this was attached to our V-berth tank up under the V-berth mattress. So when we winterized it, they basically just pulled the valve completely out of the tank, it looks like. What I don't understand is how they were able to twist this whole assembly in there to tighten and loosen it, because there was just no room in there. So we're headed to Lowe's, and we're gonna see what we can find. Obviously this doesn't, you know, this doesn't have to be marine grade plumbing per se. One of the things that I do want to do at some point is convert the boat to PEX, and that'll be coming once we get the boat moved back to Maryland. But in the meantime, we are going to head to Lowe's and see what we can find to replace this half-ass put-together valve. So, in the hunt for that new valve, which Ainsley's playing with now, and good luck getting that back anytime soon. Keep in mind, you saw how big that was in the last clip of this, and we were in the store, completely forgot to film hunting this down. We're going to convert that whole valve assembly and the whole mess that was, and an adapter at the end of it, to this. Just a pretty straightforward male to female, half-inch to half-inch. Now keep in mind, like I said, once we get to Maryland, we'll get the boat converted to PEX, and we'll put a valve in at that point, because those two tanks run in parallel. They bleed into one another, so they drain down together. So really a valve won't be necessary, because we can always stop it at the SETI tank. So I think that's a win. What do you think?
I think so.
I think we're going to be good to go. So back to the boat. Let's see what this looks like installed, make sure everything feels good, and maybe this will be another thing off the list. We're back at the boat. Obviously yesterday we went to Lowe's, got the right fitting that we needed. Now we need to go ahead and put this water pump in, which is back here behind in this aft berth, or quarter berth back here. The previous owner had lines back here already from a water standpoint, from a connection standpoint, but did not have the pump in here, which is what made this really kind of a tough determination as to what went where. But now we've got that sorted out. We also have got to go back up to the V-berth through the pile of cushions there and hook up that fitting. So I want to do that first, actually. Get all that stuff out of the way. Get back up there into that V-berth locker, put that fitting on, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so got our V-berth hallway here cleaned out. Getting sweat in my eye. Oh, we got one more cushion here in the way. It's one thing this boat did not come with a shortage of is cushions. So, under here, on the Catalina 30s, is the V-berth tank. Not a lot of light in here. Probably has some water in here from where we... No, okay, good, it drained. So, V-berth tank right there, looking all grody. Remember that fitting I showed you? That was screwed in right here, and I just don't know how they had enough room to twist things around. So we're gonna go ahead and put this fitting in here. I I don't have thread tape with me, so unfortunately this is not the appropriate way to do things. It's going to be the way we do it. Let me set you guys up right there. How we doing? Yeah, oh, come on, GoPro. There we go. Footwork and video life all at the same time. A little tough. Alright, so we're going to just, obviously don't want to cross thread the tank through hole or the tank threads, and then we will just screw this puppy in. That was a perfect fit. But now we've got to go find us a wrench real quick. All right, so got that screwed back in here. So that's inserted in the tank now. But the problem is now this hose is too short to reach over here. And the way that fitting was in here is it was here, then angled off this way, and it had just enough to connect. So I need to try to find enough slack in the line back towards the aft side of the boat and pull this through. So we'll let's go do a water pump and then see what we can do about getting some slack. Okay, so moving on to the water pump for now. And then we can, once we have this plumbed, we can pull whatever we need lined back towards the V-berth. But we just bought this basic James Co. PAR Max 3. This is essentially the same pump that was on the boat previous, just a little bit of an updated, I guess, the newer version of it. There's the fittings, which I don't even think I need because there's already fittings attached to the lines. Let's get this out of here. So this is it. This is all we were kind of holding us back. So let's get over here and get this put in. Holy cow. Well, this just got real. This just got really real. And really real it did. Join us next time as we talk about our first cruises down the New Jersey coast, finding some favorite anchorages, and having to experience our first major boating incident.